Hey everyone, for today's Instructable I'm going to show you how I look after these little guys. Can you see? Oh. This is my water kefir. I got this little jar here organised for my kids' kindy teacher, and I thought I'd better make them Instructable so that she knows what to do with them. So in case you didn't already know, water kefir is a fermented probiotic rich drink, and it's made by these little guys here, which are the water kefir grains. These grains, we call them, sit in the bottom of your sugar water and culture it for you. Well, this one's floated to the top because of all the carbonation in the kefir. So in order to feed it, you just need to strain the kefir grains out, bottle the water kefir that we've got here, and give them some more sugar water to feed off. And there's a few little rules that I'll tell you about on the way. One of them is don't let your water kefir grains come into contact with metal of any sort. I think stainless steel might be okay, but I just don't take chances. So for me, I just use wood, glass, and today I'm going to strain the grains with a silicone sieve. Okay, so I'm just pouring the water kefir into the sieve, or through the sieve and into a glass measuring jug. So now I've got these glass clip-top bottles ready to pour the kefir into, and these are great because the water kefir can build up quite a bit of carbonation while it's doing its second ferment, and so it prevents any explosions when you open it. So I've done that already because I couldn't do that while holding the camera, and we'll come back to this bottle of water kefir in a second. So for now, here are the water kefir grains that I've strained. That's what they look like. And I'll show you how to do 1 litre of water kefir today so that you guys can easily figure out how you would just increase the quantities of everything for larger batches of water kefir. So the ideal ratio is around about 2 tablespoons of water kefir grains to sugar water, and I think I've got about 2 tablespoons here, so that's great. I am not an expert on water kefir, but mine are growing like crazy, so I take that as a sign that what I'm doing is working well. Because they're growing like crazy, I do have to cull them to keep that ratio in balance, and that's why I'm giving them away to people. So if you get to the point where, like me, you've got too many grains, you can compost them or give them to friends and family, or I'm trialling at the moment, keep setting them aside to rest these grains. I'll talk about that a bit later. So for now I've got a small saucepan and a 1/4 cup measuring cup, and you'll notice they're both stainless steel, but the grains don't come into contact with either of these. This is organic golden cane sugar, which I get from Binnin, and I also use a bit of unrefined sugar for the minerals. This is Muscovado, but I've also had great success with Rapadura. I think they're sort of much of a muchness. The ideal ratio of sugar to water is 1/4 cup of sugar to 1 litre of water. And I like to use a ratio of about 2/3 golden sugar and 1/3 dark sugar. And then, because I use really filtered water, I add a little bit of Himalayan rock salt in for some minerals. So I will do 3 of these crystals in a litre of water kefir water. So I've pre-boiled some water, and I'm just going to put a little bit of boiling water in the bottom of the saucepan and swish everything around to dissolve the sugar and salt. So that's dissolved now, and I can fill it up the rest of the way with filtered water. Be careful to make sure that your sugar water is at room temperature before you put your little grains in, because you don't want to stress them out too much with big temperature changes. So there's my sugar water in a 1 litre AG jar, and I'm just going to drop these grains, about 2 tablespoons worth, into the jar. And now I'm just going to cover it with an upside down wet lid, because AG jars don't have lids, because I've found that the kefir does better in an anaerobic environment. So that's just going to sit there on the shelf out of the sunlight for a couple of days. Kefir should be ready after a day or 2, but I don't like sweet drinks, so I leave it for 2. So that's it in terms of feeding your water kefir. It's actually really straightforward. But now we'll just go back to that bottle of water kefir that we bottled, and I'll show you what to do with that. So what we're going to do with this now is what we call a second ferment, which is where you leave it out at room temperature for a few more days. I leave it out for 3 days to continue fermentation without the grains in it. And a lot of people add a little bit of sugar to the second ferment to increase the carbonation. So if you give the water kefir a little bit of sugar, it will end up a bit fizzier. But like I said earlier, I don't like sweet drinks, so I just put a little bit of fresh ginger in. The ginger seems to be enough to give it a bit of fizz, so I just get a chunk and peel it like you've seen, and I'll just cut some slices and turn them into little sticks, and I drop them into the bottle of water kefir. So now I'm going to write the day of the week on the lid. So remember that it's Sunday when I've done this, and I'll leave it for about 3 days in the cupboard. So there they are, just hanging out on the top of our kitchen cupboard. After a few days I'll taste one and see if I like it. If it's ready, put it in the fridge and let it chill, ready to drink. So that's pretty much it, we're all done now. But just for your interest, something I'm trying at the moment is resting the grains. I heard that they really like it if they can get a little rest. So what I've done is I've split the grains in half, and I'm keeping one batch in the fridge for 3 weeks, and then I'll switch them around and we'll see how they go. The other thing you might be interested in is seeing how I'm brewing them for myself. I got my husband to put a spigot in a 3-litre Fido jar, which means that I don't have to strain the grains now. I can just pour the liquid straight into a bottle. The airlock means that I can have a tight seal, but the gases can still escape, and it's working really well. I'm not sure if other people would want to have a system like this, so let me know if you do, because maybe it's something that I could add to the shop one day. So that's it, we're all done. I really hope that this has shown you how easy it is to maintain water kefir. I really like doing water kefir because it's caffeine free, unlike kombucha. And I don't tolerate caffeine very well. I just want to add that if you have chronic health problems, particularly gut-related problems, it's best to start consuming fermented drinks and foods like kefir with caution. Have small quantities and see how your body responds to them. Bombarding your body with bacteria, even if it is good bacteria, can be really stressful, particularly for a sick body. So be gentle when you start these things, and if they're not going down well, then don't force it. Having said that, water kefir, kombucha and all these other fermented foods and drinks are incredibly healthy for your body. So it is worth persevering, albeit slowly perhaps. And do keep in mind that water kefir and kombucha are both naturally carbonated drinks that have some sugar in them. How much sugar they have depends on how you brew them. But because of that, do get into the habit of drinking your kombucha and kefir with food just for the sake of your teeth.